You might have amazing products, but if your display is wrong, it'll cost you those sales. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts of craft fair displays.
We're talking today about displays and merchandising. I am giving you all of this information, not coming from the mindset of an expert, because I am in no way an expert. In fact, this is probably what hinders me the most from selling my handmade goods. My reality is, I am not a very organized person. I am not good at keeping things like I don't know, looking organized and nice. It is a goal that I strive for in my home as well as when I am working on things with my business. So today's episode is just as important for me as it is for you. So we have 5 do's and 5 don'ts of displaying and merchandising your products. Make sure that you are taking advantage of the height within your space. You want to make sure that you are catching your customers at eye level. So things that you set up that might be towards the ground, unless you are setting up in a booth space that is kind of like a storefront or an ambiance that you can walk into, walk around. If you're really just doing a craft fair where you are set up at a table, maybe in rows, you're really going to want to stay at table level and up. Anything below that is not necessarily going to be seen by your customer.
This creative did an amazing job using her vertical height in her space. Here is Laser Lady, a small business owner and content creator here on YouTube. She has a wonderful display. Now, she's been in business for over 10 years now, and she does a wonderful job showcasing all of her amazing products using her vertical space beautifully. I will leave a link to her YouTube channel and her socials in the description box below. Tip number 2 is to keep things organized.
You want to keep things at your booth very clean and very intentional. You want things set up in a way that is easy to access, easy to see not only close up, but from afar, and find ways to bring people into your booth. You want to make sure that people can easily find what they're looking for. And the ways that you do that is not only to keep things together, like similar items together, but also to make sure that you have the right signage that allows that customer to see what you're selling, even from farther away. Prices, price tags, any kind of set prices you have, even if you want to have like a display of what your pricing is, you could do that. It also allows you to upsell those discounts. If you're offering a bundled discount, it is amazing to see kind of at the like a sign that says, $8 each or 2 for $20. It brings people right to that item because they want to know more of how they're going to be able to save. You do want to create a focal point. What do I mean by this? Take your most popular item or the thing that you want to feature for that craft fair and make that the focal point at your table or in your booth space. Make that the thing that people will be attracted to.
Here is chaicoffeecrochet.com, and this blogger has a lot of wonderful tips for craft fairs. But the reason I ended up on this page, the reason I landed on this page was because of this photo that really illustrates the focal point for this booth space. Now, there's some things here that I would probably do differently, but that's not the purpose here. What I wanted to show you was the focal point that this business owner created for her space.
Too. So for me, I set up in that 5 by 22 space that I kind of showed you guys at the beginning of this video. I really like to keep the things that I sell the most in the middle of those 2 tables. So partly on one table, partly on another table, but those are going to be my features that I keep in the middle because that's what people get the most attracted to when they want to stop and kind of explore and search a little more, shop a little more. That's where they're going to land. I also will keep stuff on the edges of my booth space on those trees. That's where I sell all my ornaments. I told you that ornaments sell very well for me. And one of the things that I think works really well is showcasing how those ornaments look when they're on a Christmas tree. What I think would work as well is if you have a display where there could be like almost like a wall, one of those grids where you can hang them up. That can work too. But I do think that the unique nature of handmade items, you might not always have multiples and multiples of certain things. So if you want to showcase more unique items, I think doing it on that Christmas tree in that style works really, really well. A lot of times I only have anywhere from like 1 to 5 of an item that's like exactly the same match. 5 is pushing it. I don't always have that many. So I like to have them on the tree because people can just take something that they want, pull it right off the tree. I can wrap it up for them and they are good to go. It also allows me to put that signage at the top of the tree where the star would go. I will usually put that display where I will put $8 each or 2 for 20, $5 each or 5 for 20, whatever you want your bundle discount to be, if that's what you're going to do. You really do want to think about the flow of traffic at your craft fair. Where are people walking in from? Where are they going to be walking like towards? How are they going to be able to shop? Where do you expect them to stop and like kind of search a little more? Make sure there is a good flow. That's actually one of the reasons why I like to keep the places where people might stop and search at the middle of my 22-foot length space, because I can be moving around while they're searching and I can come onto one side, I can come onto another side, and it's not like everybody's all huddled at one end of my table. So I'm not sure if that is the best idea or not. It is what's worked for me. It allows me to have some flexibility and movement for myself to be able to connect with customers in a different way. Some don'ts. Do not overcrowd your table. We talked about this. If you watched my video about the 6 mistakes that handmade sellers make, one of the things that can happen is with your displays is overcrowding. You want to put everything out. You want to be able to showcase every single thing you've made, which is awesome. But if it is so overcrowded that it's not visually pleasing, it will not catch a customer's eye. They might not want to search any further. They'll walk by, they'll say, "Oh, that's cute," and then keep going. You want something that'll really attract them and make them want to search more. I do feel that having a cohesion in your coloring, in your designs within a craft setup is another great thing. Having like items, so let's say you're doing ornaments, you want to have a lot of different variety of ornaments. That's great. You want to sell boxes or bins. You want to have kind of a variety of them. That's great. But you do want to consider the fact that if you're going to style these things together at your table, having something in different colors or patterns that clash might be a little hard to set up. I will say that there are exceptions to this. If you're selling like purses or other types of handmade products that you can have like almost like in a basket where people can sort through to find the color they like, that is a little bit different. I'm thinking of things where like a item would be like the feature, and then you have that feature along with a variety of colors, and it just becomes a little overwhelming to the eye. One of the biggest things that is a little hard, especially if you're setting up a craft fair where you are at a table in rows, is trying to avoid hiding behind your displays. Now, if you're behind your table, there's only so much you can do about that in certain cases. Just make sure that when you have that height, there is space for you around those taller like spaces for you people to see you. I try to keep those taller items on the ends of my tables, so the middle part is where there's not as much height, but I'm there. Something really important, and we did talk about this before, do not ignore branding. Make sure that your brand is very clear and people know exactly what you're selling, your style, your personality, and this could be down to even how your signage looks, the way your prices are tagged, or the way your price tags are on your projects, the way that you display your name on your booth space. All of that, you want to have some sort of cohesion. I will say that in past years, my setup, my logos, everything was always in the black, white, and green. But this past year in 2025, I kind of adjusted my brand to be more of those neutral tones and to have more of a, I guess, decoupage style, scrapbooky style. So I am really focusing on creating that same ambiance within my booth displays this year. One thing that I know I did not do well was making sure my displays actually are cohesive. So not just the items I'm selling, but what I'm actually displaying them with. If you have this beautiful, wooden handmade goods, and you are, wanting to showcase that vintage style, that very, very like rustic look, but then you put them on a metal rack, it doesn't necessarily give the same vibe as if you were putting it on maybe a more primitive style wooden shelf. So consider your displays and how that matches your brand so that you can kind of present that ambiance, kind of showcase your style, not only with your items, but also how you set it up. Don't forget about accessibility. You want to make sure that items are easy to pick up, easy to handle. If customers want to be able to kind of look at them a little bit more closely, that's one of the reasons why I love putting stuff on those Christmas trees, because they even can turn. They get to pull a couple off the tree and then buy them in bundles. It is something that probably works the best for me. The other display that works out really well for me, especially with my monogram gift tags, is setting them up in kind of trays where the letters are alphabetized and people can go straight to the letter they want and then look within that letter for the specific style of monogram gift tag they want to buy. That worked very well for me a few years back. It did not work as well for me last year. I think that there were some other factors that played into that. I am going to have my monogram gift tags again. I'm just still working out the actual style I want to go for, because I want it to be a little bit more cohesive than what I did last year. I kind of strayed too far away from Christmas and tried to do all different kinds of things. And I think I almost made it harder for myself than if I just stayed with Christmas. Or what I plan to do is to find something a little bit more neutral and easier to like duplicate, to replicate.
Another quick note about accessibility and also considering safety. I love to have these tablecloths that kind of are the stretched ones that tuck under, almost like how a fitted sheet would on a bed. I like this because it is safe, it is clean looking, and really allows you to kind of mask the things you might want to put under your booth, or I'm sorry, under your table without affecting any kind of flow of traffic. You want to make sure you're not creating any type of display that could potentially hurt your customer if they were to trip and fall, things like that. This is clean and easy and very inexpensive. I will leave a link in the description box of the items that I've purchased for my craft tables.
Overall, it is so important to consider all of the things that you're going to bring together, but the most important part of your booth display is going to be you, your smile, your personality, what you bring to your products, and how you can market your products just with your words. Make sure you do not ignore that important piece of your booth. It can be beautiful, but if your personality is not there to match it, if you're not really ready to sell and to interact with your customers, it's going to be a lot harder for you to make those sales and to keep people coming back for more. Even if you're shy, you can definitely talk about what you love about the products you make. And even if you're shy, that will still exude onto your customers.
Remember, it's not just about what you make, it's about how you present it. I hope you found today's tips helpful. Please let me know in the comments what you think. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode where we'll keep on turning your creativity into sales.